All right, good morning. It is Saturday, January 11th, 2025, and this is Steve O.C. We're doing a live with the Course in Miracles, and while we wait for a few people to join the live, to join the room, I just want to talk a minute. January 11th, the beginning of 2025. And as we're going through it, boy, the energy, I think, is very intense. The energy to me, I'm experiencing a very high energy. I've had to really sit still, go deeply into, seat myself firmly in my meditative practice. The energy, I think, is just really rising up. The fires are raging out in Los Angeles at this time. And as we go through the Course in Miracles, I think it's important to consider the idea of how do I make my spiritual practice a part of my everyday world. Personally, for many years, I found that my daily activities and my day-to-day relationships. When I first started my spiritual practice, it seemed to me like there was spiritual practice, and then was my daily activities, and they seemed to be separate. I was raised in a Catholic household, and I can recall my mother saying to myself and my brothers and sisters, uh, don't you think you can give God one day a week? When we used to complain about going to church on Sunday, she would say, don't you think you can give God one day per week? Um, she went to a Catholic girls' high school. My father went to a Catholic boys' high school. And as I was raised Catholic, like many people, I came up in the Catholic church, or I came up in a traditional church, and I began to sense that, something wasn't right, not only with the church, but just daily in my daily life. I began to develop a sense of something's not right. This doesn't seem right, and it didn't seem like anyone was able to, certainly not at parochial school or at the church. No one was able to really give me an answer, or was even willing to engage in a discussion about what I didn't even realize at the time was a spiritual question. But of course, Catholic education basically comes down to sort of a dogmatic programming into the dogma of the church. And that's basically what my spiritual or religious education was about. And of course, the church was changing at that time in the 70s, 80s. So eventually, I came to, I was being led from within to a spiritual path. And it has culminated in the Course in Miracles, study of the Course in Miracles, which is what I am doing on this live today. Hi, Jim. Jim says Wicca. Hi, Anne. Hi, Orville. Hi, Derek. Thanks for stopping by, Susan. Anybody who comes in the room, if you get a chance, hit the screen. Give me some hearts. Give me some likes. And it will help, of course, on TikTok, which, by the way, I don't think is going away. Thanks. Thanks for the hearts. Uh, Thanks, Jim. I appreciate it. I don't think TikTok's going away. The Supreme Court hearings were yesterday. I listened to some of the arguments from a few minutes, maybe 10 or 15 minutes, which I thought were very interesting. And of course, there's a lot of talk on TikTok right now. And a lot of people seem to be packing up their bags, heading, saying they definitely won't go to Meta and all these other things. I kind of take the position that Gary Vee takes. And Gary Vee says, hey, I'm just going to go where the attention is. Another app will come along, or I'll use the current apps. But I don't think TikTok is going to be shut down. I think President-elect, whose name cannot be spoken, either the great one or the great evil one, I think, depending on where you sit on the fence, I think he is going to keep it around. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But today we're talking about Lesson 11 from Course in Miracles. Lesson 11 says, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. And let me just read the first paragraph here because it sets it up pretty nicely, I think. This is the first idea we have had that is related to a major phase of the correction process, the reversal of the thinking of the world. It seems as if the world determines what you perceive. Today's idea introduces the concept that your thoughts determine the world that you see. Be glad indeed to practice this idea in its initial form, for in this idea is your release made sure. The key to forgiveness lies in it. So that paragraph, like all paragraphs in A Course in Miracles, is packed full of ideas to contemplate. It's packed full of a high vibration, in my opinion. Yeah, I've got a comment here from Kittle Red who says, isn't it funny Trump started the talk of banning TikTok and now people want him to save it? Yeah, I think it's what he'll do, based around all the other issues that are connected to it, free speech issues. Hey, Jonathan writes here. Hi, Jonathan. Good to see you. Jonathan, I want to know if you are using the name The Alchemist 57N75, because I see you on here as Jonathan Wright, and then your picture's also on something else here that says The Alchemist. Anyway, it's interesting. I never know if that's really you. So my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. And it talks about the reversal of our thinking about the world. So the first 50 lessons on A Course in Miracles, we are trying to reverse our thinking. We are living under a condition like fish in water. We may not realize that our mind is split. Hello from San Jose, California. What's up, San Jose, California? I spent the last 24 years out in Los Angeles and Burbank. Okay, Jonathan, thanks. It's your username for TikTok. Great. Yeah, I spent 24 years out in Los Angeles. I just recently left Burbank, and now, of course, it looks like the apocalypse out there. I have plenty to say about that, but we'll leave that alone for right now. I will be expanding the range of my discussion on this platform and on other platforms. Thanks for the likes, you guys. Keep them coming. It really helps. I appreciate it. I will be expanding the discussion on this platform and on other platforms, because what I want to start talking about in greater depth, which I started off with today, is how do I bring my spiritual practice more directly into my day to day activities, relationships? How do I use current events? And this is coming from the Course in Miracles. It's coming from this first paragraph, as far as I'm concerned. The way it describes the world, it seems as if the world determines what you perceive. If I look at Southern California right now and allow that to determine what I'm feeling or determine what I'm thinking, what the Course in Miracles says, and I agree with it wholeheartedly, that's backwards. Like they say in Stranger Things, right? We're in the upside down world. Our thinking has been reversed, it's been turned upside down, and we want to set it back right side up and put it back into alignment with a higher power, with a higher thought. So I would rather go from the inside out. So thanks for the likes, guys. Thanks, Linda Lee. Gigi just joined. Brenda, Ladybug. Jefferson Martin, thanks for stopping by. So I want to go. My practice is to meditate, pray, contemplate spiritual ideas, spiritual material, like the Course in Miracles, so that I can develop a state of mind and a way of perceiving the world that goes from the inside out. Today's idea introduces the concept that your thoughts determine the world that you see. Later in the course, the idea will be introduced in the workbook that God did not create this disaster. God did not create the fires out in Southern California. And I've been studying this book for a couple decades now, and it's an idea that takes a minute to get used to, and it's a universal question that people have when they are searching their spiritual beliefs, especially at the beginning of searching my spiritual beliefs. Why would God? I used to think there was no God. Why would God let the things that happen in the world, why would he let them happen? Why would the destruction that's going on in Southern California, if there was a God, why would it be allowed to happen? So that, of course, is an idea that you can discuss for the rest of your life, for the rest of our lives. And it's a great idea to contemplate. Part of the idea to me is that this is a dream. We are dreaming a dream. This is addressed in A Course in Miracles. This is discussed in A Course in Miracles. We are dreaming a dream. I am a dreamer of a dream. And the dream has a foundation of I'm dreaming the idea of separation from God. So this is an experiment. This is a simulation. This is a dream. And I have agreed to enter into a simulation, if you will, move around on a holodeck. For the Star Trek fans, science fiction fans, I've agreed to move around in a holodeck where the program is separate from God. And then as I wake up, as I come to that realization, the rules or the laws of the game allow me to begin to align myself and identify myself in an awakened state. Now I'm going to align myself with God, with a higher power, and I am going to be able to affect my experience in this dream, in this game, on this holodeck. And so, in a general sense, that's what I believe is going on. I also believe it is Moon Man T. Is that really you? Let me tell you that Moon Man T, you got to check him out. Moon Man T does great lives. He did a great live this morning. He was knocking it out of the park. And I don't know if he's ever read A Course in Miracles or worked with it. He never really says how he came to, he doesn't really talk about how he came to it, but that guy is hitting the bullseye all the time. Check him out on this platform. He's also on other platforms, but Moon Man T, check him out. He does great lives. So let's finish up with the course here. It seems as if the world determines what you perceive. Today's idea introduces the concept that your thoughts determine the world you see. So we're going to reverse. We're going to go from outside in. Instead, we're going to start thinking about inside out. Be glad indeed to practice this idea. The key to forgiveness lies in it. Course also talks about being a happy learner. There's a saying we used to toss around, you shall know the truth and the truth shall set you free. But first, it's going to piss you off. It's going to piss your ego off when you start working along the lines of from a spiritual foundation, from a spiritual perspective, because now the usurper, the ego mind, is going to be asked very kindly to get off the throne. You shouldn't be sitting on the throne, ego. There is a higher self that belongs on the throne. So if you don't mind, dear friend, your reign is over. So, have a seat over there, please. And the ego doesn't really want to give it up that easily. You will encounter a little bit of resistance to that idea. It's an internal resistance. Okay, it's an internal struggle that I'm having with myself. So it gives some instructions for how to work with the idea for the day. And it says, as we work with this idea for the day, my meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. It contains the foundation for the peace, relaxation, and freedom from worry that we are trying to achieve. On concluding the exercises, close your eyes and repeat the idea once more slowly to yourself. So in using this idea for the day, the idea is to close my eyes, repeat the idea for the day several times. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. And then to open my eyes and just look around at the world and hold the idea in my consciousness. It says do it from 3 to 5 times today. And the idea is if any sort of tension or resistance or defensiveness does arise, then don't push it at the beginning here. Just recognize that resistance is coming up. Just observe it. Just watch it. And, follow along the instructions of closing the eyes. I'm remembering the thought for the day. My meaningless thoughts are showing me a meaningless world. And then I'm just opening my eyes and looking around. It says 3 times a day is enough. If it doesn't cause any anxiety or resistance, you can do it up to 5 times a day. It says that's enough. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So if we go to the text, we are now reading one section of the text per day in addition to doing the workbook lesson. So we go to chapter 2, section 4, healing as release from fear. So the ego is defined as, hi, Tony, thanks for stopping in. Jesus is Lord. Tony says, amen. Bob joined. Renee joined. Thanks for stopping by, you guys. The Course in Miracles, of course, is the voice that is speaking, is defined as the voice of Jesus, giving instructions about a new way to think about those teachings, a different way to think about the Bible. And you can go to the end of the books, to some of the supplements in the books, and it will give you a definition. Thanks for the likes, you guys. It'll give you a definition under the glossary of terms for the name Jesus. Okay? So it says here, section 4, chapter 2, our emphasis is now on healing. The miracle is the means, the atonement is the principle, and the healing is the result. And then it talks about some technical ideas. To speak of a miracle of healing is to combine two orders of reality inappropriately. Healing is not a miracle. The atonement, or the final miracle, is a remedy, and any type of healing is a result. Now, what it goes on to talk about here is that the body, or the physical, to heal the body or the physical or any conditions in the outside world. Beckham's, thank you for the likes. I appreciate it. Thanks for hanging out. The body and the external world is an effect. The healing takes place in the mind. So it's not a healing of the body. The true level of healing, according to A Course in Miracles, is in the mind. So it says here, the body can act wrongly, okay, illness or any behavioral problems. The body can act wrongly only when it is responding to misthought. The body cannot create, and the belief that it can, a fundamental error, produces all physical symptoms. Physical illness represents a belief in magic. It's making a distinction here between the ego, which uses magic, and the mind, which employs miracles. So it makes a distinction here between a miracle and magic. Again, it also points out that this is just one thought system that can be used to come to return to the source, discover the higher self. However you want to say it, this is just one framework or method for the universal curriculum, he calls it. But it acknowledges that there are an infinite number of systems, okay, to achieve that goal. So again, a lot of interesting concepts here in the text. Third paragraph says only the mind can create, because spirit has already been created and the body is a learning device for the mind. Learning devices are not lessons in themselves. Their purpose is merely to facilitate learning. That idea is that the body is an instrument, it's a tool, it's a spacesuit, and it can be used as a learning device. The ultimate goal has nothing to do with the body or with physical existence. it is the mind that needs to be healed, and it is the mind that is the creative source. So I am a thought in the mind of God. God is the ultimate thought, the source thought. And so I'm a thought in the mind of God. And as a thought in the mind of God, created in the image and likeness of God, I am created perfect, whole, and complete. I've kind of messed that up as I experience my incarnations, as I experience a series of incarnations. I'm going through a learning process, and I may have wandered a bit from the path, right? Thanks for the likes, you guys. Thanks, Lizzie. I appreciate it. So, the prodigal son, the metaphor of the prodigal son, the parable of the prodigal son, sheep that have wandered off. These ideas are metaphors, symbols for the idea that I have wandered away in my mind from the source of my creation. So it says the body here, the worst faulty use of a learning device. The body is a learning device. The worst of faulty use of a learning device can do is to fail to facilitate learning. It has no power in itself to introduce actual learning errors. The body, if properly understood, shares the invulnerability of the atonement to two-edged application. This is not because the body is a miracle, but because it is not inherently open to misinterpretation. The body is merely a part of your experience in the physical world. Its abilities can be, and frequently are, over-evaluated. However, it is almost impossible to deny its existence in this world. Those who do so are engaging in a particularly unworthy form of denial. The term unworthy here implies only that it is not necessary to protect the mind by denying the unmindful. If one denies this unfortunate aspect of the mind's power, one is also denying the power itself. So, again, a lot of information contained in that paragraph, sort of the general idea. As it said, it introduces levels, right? It's kind of explaining the levels that exist. The original level is spirit. Spirit is created, and it's created perfect. It's the level of perfection. And then there is the mind, which is an expression of the spirit or a channel for the spirit. Okay, an instrument of the spirit, and then there the mind, and then there is body. So 3 levels there, and it is saying that the body and the physical world is the effect of the other 2 levels, the mind being the effect of the spirit being the ultimate creation. So that's a lot of technical stuff there. And really, what I'm looking for, what you might want to be looking for, is just the process here that is given in the workbook, as it says, is a process that if I just follow it, even if I resist it, even if I don't understand it, even if I don't know why I'm doing it, if I follow the process, it will have an effect in the mind, and it will help me draw closer to the spirit. And I can attest to the fact that that is a true statement. Too much ado. What's up? Caleb Gomez, how you doing? Patty Cakes, Vicky, and Billiam. So we have been talking today about lesson 11 and chapter 2, section 4 of A Course in Miracles. We've been talking for about half an hour now. what I do is I do this every day at 11 a.m. Central Time. If you can't make it to the live, I also then upload this to my YouTube channel, which is at SVC2011 on YouTube, and you can check out the lives there if you miss them. My suggestion with the YouTube channel right now is, I would, if I found my YouTube channel, I would click on a couple of them, click in the middle, at the end, at the beginning, and just see what kind of discussion comes up. See what the Holy Spirit is asking you to think about today. Just click into one of them. There's going to be 11 of them now after today. Follow along on this channel. Go to profile, follow along. The channel and the discussion will be expanding beyond its current incarnation. So, get in early. Ooh. And then, watch it develop and participate in its development. There's a guy sitting here, Jonathan Wright. There's a couple other people I've started interacting with on this platform. Very interesting. I'm sure someday we will meet face to face. There's some other people on this platform. Conscious Warrior Training. Check him out, Conscious Warrior Training. Moonman T, as I said, very interesting channel. Carmen, my friend Carmen Baden, Baden, or Carmen Baden. I'm not sure how she says her last name. She's got an interesting channel also. Check them all out. Also go to Jonathan Wright's channel, at Jonathan Wright. Check him out. Jonathan posts every so often, and he's a hard-working guy, unlike me. But check out what Jonathan has to say, too. He's got some great content. Anyway, that is enough for today, and I will see you tomorrow, or go check it out, the YouTube channel. Peace and blessings. Take care. I'll talk to you soon. Have a great day.